Hello, my name is Mike Pfaff, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now, last time we got together, this is the model that we used. And this is our subject up here that we talked about. And so a brief review, and then we'll go on to a new subject. But what we talked about last time was it's taboo, at least in the egoic world. The strange truth of pain. And what was the strange truth of pain? Well, it had to do with these two subjects, subjective and objective. In the egoic world, we try to reduce everything to a object, a subjective reality. And so the egoic world is kind of the world of objects. Now, over here we have subjective. And what's the difference? This one kind of stands alone. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm having a little fusion tea today between white tea and green tea. With a little pear and elderberry in it. And it is quite nice. So now we have objective and subjective. Subjective means that you have input into what you are observing. Your belief system, your values, your moral judgments, your experiences with life, all kinds of stuff go in to your subjective review of, in this case, your pain. So, and over here is objective. Now, the egoic world likes objective because, well, we can work with objects. We can't work with this. This is kind of just inside of you. You're creating through your belief system and your values and everything. You're creating. Over here, we think there is objects, and we think we can reduce our pain and suffering and also our mental state to an objective observation. And of course you can't. Not when you really think about it. But in the egoic world, we believe we can. Everything is an object, and therefore your pain is an object and not subjective. And so that's our belief system. Of course it isn't, because the secret, the taboo of mentioning, is that all your pain is subjective. How you feel the pain, how long it lasts, how strong it is, how it affects your life, how it affects your world around you, how you interface with your world, is all subjective, and your pain is affected by all of this information over here. And we also mentioned secondary gains. Now, I'll reference that, and that'd be very interesting for you to take a look at to get background in this, because this isn't true. There is no objective world. That's another sad truth that is not recognized in the egoic world. And I'll reference another video on on that. But now we're going to move to another subject, and it will be interesting also, right now. And this is our subject for today. Now, let me read it off my paper here. Now, this looks a little chaotic. Well, maybe it's supposed to. But in a minute, I want to make it into a 3D picture. Right now, it's 2D and chaotic. As I explain it, I want you to see it as 3D, just lifting off this board. So here's our subject. It's not magic. You see nothing as it is. You see nothing as it is. Now, here again, we have a lot of information. So I'm going to start off right in the center with you. Now, I hope you can see this little figure here. Here's the body, here's the face, here's the feet, here's a hand here. So we have this little body here, and in that body I have spelled out the 5 senses. Now, you can only get information inside of you through your senses. Now, there are some that are more exotic than the 5 general ones, but let's just stick with these. 1, visual, 2, auditory, 3, kinesthetic, touch, 4, nose, olfactory, and 5, your tongue or taste or gustatory. Now, these are all, like we talked about before, individual information. Now, outside of here, we have everything. Now, this represents the energy field of everything, and which I have been calling consciousness. So we have this here, and the information comes from this infinite field out here, this energy field, through our 5 senses. Now, we're going to add a little bit now. Your senses all together, all the information that goes into your senses, and I said before, your senses are just organs. They're just instruments, and they can be tested, and they have been. In other videos, I don't know if I can find them anymore, but I'll reference some of that information. You'll also find a reference in the description, video description. 11 million, that should be million. I got to change that, because that's important. That's million. Million, make believe that's million. Millions of bits of data per second. And that's tested, and you can look it up on YouTube, different channels, and also Google, and it will tell you how these senses work and how fast they are, how they transmit information, electromagnetic and chemical information. And it turns out to be 11 million. Now, it's all of this here, all of this, and your senses can't take in all of this information, because this is infinite out here. This is infinite. But it can take in a lot of information. Your senses can. Mainly visual. Visual is the big one. And your brain is developed to handle a lot of visual information. But the information, before you can use it, is chaotic. It's like this. It's chaos. It's just information. And it's coming in at a rate of 11 million bits of data per second. And over here, we have a filtering system to filter and review this chaotic information from your senses. And this is related to your belief system and your subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind processes, you see it over here, around 400 billion. That's why I had to change this. This is millions. This is billions. So this is thousands times faster than your senses are delivering information. So this filtering system is very fast, very fast, very fast, and is capable of running your body, the subconscious mind, that's kind of what it does, and still handle all of the input data from your senses and filter it through your belief system, your values, your moral judgments, your past experiences with life, your memories. It's all that stored in the subconscious. And it's going through and it's making decisions. It's throwing stuff out that it doesn't understand. It's keeping stuff that it does. It makes a decision how it's going to select the information coming from the outside. Pretty fantastic, really. Now, I drew here a projector because it's taking this information and it's rendering it into a complete world. Now, so I'm picturing that as a video or a movie. I'm looking at it as a film, really, an old-fashioned movie projector here. And so we got this film running. We got a light inside here, and we're projecting from the projector this information, which is a rendering of the filtered information. We're projecting it onto a screen. So you're taking this, reducing it down to what fits you through your belief system, and you are projecting it onto a screen. Now, if you'll notice, when I drew this little head here, I didn't put a back on it. This is kind of the back of the head, this screen, except it's not. It's what you project out here and believe that's out here. But you're creating it inside. Now, in this diagram, again, we have the senses sending information, streaming information at 11 million bits of data per second. We have the subconscious mind filtering through that, throwing stuff out, keeping stuff, selecting what is important based upon your belief system at around 400 billion bits of data per second, and projecting that as a complete world, a complete rendering onto this screen. Now, we haven't finished our model because there's something that does not show yet that I haven't mentioned. It does show, if you look at it right here, here you are as the subconscious mind. Here's how you picture your world, your subconscious mind. You're sitting in a chair and you're looking at the movie. Now, this selection process of the data is operating very fast. And here sits you, the conscious mind, because that's all you know is what the conscious mind tells you. Here you are, conscious mind. Now the conscious mind is also been tested, and it operates maximum 100 bits of data per second. But this is what you believe, the conscious mind. Now let me go through this again. Your input data from input information from your senses, 11 million bits of data per second. Your subconscious mind operates fully around 400 billion bits of data per second. Your conscious mind, as you sit in your chair watching the world go by, operates at 100 bits per second. And so the subconscious mind, so the conscious mind, your conscious mind, has no idea this other stuff is going on, has no idea that you are filtering the input information that you're creating your world from. You have no idea that what you're creating here in the inside is not what's out here. You have no idea that you are throwing stuff out, that the input data isn't everything that's here, that you are selecting, uniquely selecting based upon your belief system and your values and your moral, things that don't match your moral judgment, you'll just throw them out. Well, that can't be real. That can't be true. So throw it out. Don't even think about it. And you don't even recognize on a conscious level you're throwing it out. See, that's what I said about subjective and objective. It's all subjective. The objective, you can't have a purely objective point of view. You can't, because you have no idea what your belief system is, what your values are. Most of them were formed before the age of 3, but you absolutely believe you know exactly what you believe and what you don't believe, and everything else doesn't affect you. Now, if I had one of those buzzers, I go beep, wrong. Everything is subjective. That means you're in control. You can make changes. It's not objective. It's not solid. Nothing is solid. It's all energy. But in the egoic belief system, we think, no, it's all solid. It's all cars and trucks and things that you can put your hand on. Well, that's true. Here's your hand reaching out into the energy field. And what it feels like is going to be exactly what shows up on here. Because you created it from this input. But you filtered it so that what you create here is not here. You see nothing as it is. You always see it as a subjective creation. Now here you sit, looking out here, and here's your world. This is what you think the world is. It is not. This is the energy system. You are seeing what the subconscious mind is creating, and you're seeing it at 100 bits per second, and you have no idea what was done to this data to give you your conscious mind interpretation of the world. But you'll believe this. You'll believe what your conscious mind tells you. Why? Survival. It's all part of the survival system. This, your conscious mind, looking at this, this is the best model for your survival. It's not what's out here, of course, but it is your best model that you could come up with based upon your belief system, your values, your life experiences, your memories. It's all make-believe, but it's part of your survival system. So what does A Course in Miracles say about this? Now, before I get into that, I want to again stress, this is chaos out here. You have put meaning on the chaos and created this inside world with all the objects that you think are out here. They're here. They're your creation. There's no objects out here in consciousness, in this infinite field. There's no objects. The only objects are these. Now, why do we all see the same objects? Because we all have a lot of the same filtering system. But your objects and my objects and my world and your world aren't the same. Oh. Now let's see what the Course says. And again, you'll see it up here. And it was taken from, it's not the whole lesson, but it's taken from lesson 4. And there's a reference in the description, and you'll see it. And talking about lesson 4, lesson 4, is the first attempt in a long-range purpose of learning to see the meaningless as outside you and the meaningful as inside. The only meaning there is the meaning you put on your world. You put the meaning on everything in your world. And your meaning for your objects and your world, and my meaning for my world and my objects, two different things. So, that's what we talked about. And I'll reference that other video that there's no objective reality. There is no objective reality. There are no objects in consciousness. You're the creator. You're the creator of your world and all the objects in it. Oh, what a fantastic place this illusion is. It's scary. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time, right here in this scary place, in the illusion. Bye now.
Pepe sky, e olo e ana mai, ina leo na manu, a ke kani o ke ia lullaby. Pepe sky, e nā i ke kai o kana loa. When you want to o I mai, to the place that